What's up, guys? Rob Kuhn here, and today we're going to review a hand from what many refer to as the Tiger Woods of poker, the greatest of all time, the GOAT himself, Phil Ivey. Let's get in the action.
Very still in the mix, playing 55 bigs.
Just to set the scene of what this tournament is, this is called the Coin Rivet Invitational. It's a $200,000 buy-in at the Triton, which $5.5 million for first.
200.
Your multi-way
By the way,
pot
I
here,
bought
Brian.
2 of the bags. One for me as well.
Oh yeah.
Ivy
I also-
popping
I
things
bought
up
2 of these
on the
little
button.
Just one. What do you want? What do you
One
what
for
do
you, and then also I
I
found
have
out.
it.
Ivy,
Crazy.
Well, you
10
told me you're giving me
suited.
12,000 for it.
I give you
Probably
12,000
one-
for free. Enjoy you that.
a
Not for free.
standard
Why
open,
you
but
don't?
one of the
You told me you're
weakest
giving me
hands
12,000
being
for
open
that.
at the button at 30 big blinds. And then yeah, deciding how he wants to respond.
You didn't give me 300. Okay, one.
Here.
Okay.
3 better call. I don't think he folds.
But yeah, I
Will
think
you
it was
back to
super sick.
Vegas?
Could
What's
even
Back to
come
Vegas
with
when you
jam.
come to Dubai? Or no, you come straight to Dubai?
Maybe I come to Dubai. What's there to do in Dubai
Decides
right now?
call. And
Yeah, I think that's what the time bank was used for.
Action folds around to Ivy, who raises with 10-6 suited to 13,000, a little bit over min raise. Ben Heath takes a little bit of deliberation before deciding to call, which is definitely the better play, as he's a little bit too deep to shove and he doesn't really want a 3-bet call. And Chris Vogelsang goes for the call as well.
Yeah.
He was
If there's stuff, I'll come.
And the problem with Jam is he's a little deep. I mean, Jam versus Ivy's stack is fine, but then
I
he's
have to wait.
deeper and Vogelsang covers him. So it's a tricky spot.
She has to go
I
to
think if
Russia.
they're all just like 30 blinds,
I might go to Dubai.
Jam
How
is
far
like
it
very
Dubai?
reasonable. But you know, he's like almost 50 and Vogel covers, so kind of takes that option off the table a little bit.
4 hours
And,
from here? Oh, it's
you know, really
Yeah.
good flop here for Vogel and Ivy. I
when I
mean,
went, I didn't know people.
you know, top pair backdoor flush draw
I
versus
stay at the Burrs all Rob.
flush draw and gutter. So these guys definitely going to put some chips in, and Heath not going to be able to continue 3 ways. I mean,
Ivy coming with 1/3. Ben Heath in a sandwich does have Vogelsang behind to worry about.
yeah, I mean, had it gone bet call to him, he'd definitely be out. But now, with it just the button C betting, he decides to continue. This is probably really like one of his weakest continues, I'd say. 5s with no club. And versus bet and call, Vogel's got a decision here. You know, do you check raise, try to take it down? Little dicey inflating the pot with 7 high, but I guess you're okay getting it in with Ivy, or just call and have this really be one of the strongest draws that you slow play.
With 45,000 in the middle, Ivy decides to bet 16,000, and Ben Heath makes the call. I think this call is really loose. He doesn't really hope for much. If he hits the 5 of clubs, it might not even be good. And he also has a player behind him, so definitely would like to see the fold there. Christopher Vogelsang has an interesting decision of whether to check raise or check call. Obviously, having the flush draw on the gut shot, he does opt to call.
8 of hearts pairing on the turn.
And a card that's going to be really, in a weird way, it's kind of like a good card for Heath from his perspective, as 5s is already very dicey 3 ways, and you were already behind an 8 anyway. This filled in 0 draws. But I think both Ivy and Vogelsang very hesitant on this card. Pairs the board.
Potential lead spot for Vogelsang.
Yeah, definitely. He can definitely have 8s in his range. He has a hand specifically that has a decent amount of equity when called, and would like to take down the pot.
You got a nice house there?
Pretty good semi-bluff spot.
You can take one of the room.
Oh, you got extra rooms and shit?
Yeah, 4 room.
So
take one of-
Vogelsang
take one of
in the
them.
tank. See what it comes with.
How old are you?
Did you see him come with 1/3?
Who is this guy? Yesterday was in woo.
And it's on the pro side too.
What's that?
He's a pro.
He's a pro.
Who is
Does
Why is
opt
I don't
to
know,
lead.
But he
So how
was
you know?
overshouting.
What's his name? Who is it?
Why is
But I saw.
Who is the
Oh,
guy?
so point to who? Which table?
Ooh. It's a sizable one, Brian.
Honestly, I don't know.
Comes with more than half pot.
I can't see.
Multi-way.
But yeah, he was shouting a lot.
Yeah, I think vogelsang wants to get draws out. He knows an 8's not folding, and 10 probably doesn't fold. But he would definitely like to get all other draws out, because any other...
Action checks to vogelsang on the turn, who decides to go ahead and lead and retake the initiative in the hand. And this is actually a very good lead. Generally, when second pair pairs the board, you actually do a lot of leading, as the pre-flop raiser probably doesn't have a lot of 8x in their range. Thus, you don't want them to check back, and you want to get value from when you actually do have 8x. And of course, to balance this, you want to have some flush draws and some straight draws and stuff like that. In this case, he has both.
He's just beating him, such as Jack 9, 9-7, or clubs.
Ivey makes the call.
So when he's called here, I think
And if you're Ivey here, there's no reason to shove the turn. You're only going to get called by better.
he can be kind of put Ivey on a range that's very value heavy. Not saying Ivey can't have draws, like maybe the nut flush draw, you know, probably like 3x with a club. But besides that, very like 10 and 8 heavy. And now Vogel has to ask himself, well, you're never getting 3/8 to fold, but for 60% pot, can he get
Wow.
10s and 8s to fold?
What gangster.
And yeah, and Vogel decides that, yeah, he
With 200,000 in the middle, vogelsang puts Ivey all in for his last 121,000, roughly around 20 big blinds. And Ivey's put in a really tough situation here. Of course, on one end, he does unblock a lot of the straight draws, such as 9-7, Jack 9, hands like that. That may take the similar line. But on the other end, vogelsang's doing a very good job representing an 8, as Ivey very likely has what he has, a hand like 10x or pocket jacks and above, right? So this is not that trivial of a decision. And Ivey, known for reading a lot of players, is definitely not going to get a read off vogelsang, considering his hoodie is covering his entire face, which should probably be illegal. But this is not that easy of a situation for Ivey. Let's go ahead and see what the greatest of all time does.
can maybe get 10s and 8s to fold here. He has no showdown, and he's going to follow through. And despite the fact that he has the 7-6 of clubs, because of the way he played this on the turn, Ivey doesn't have a lot of club flush draws, so those blockers not being so bad for him. I think that's a lot of his thinking. And now Ivey just kind of has to decide, like, kind of either Vogel kind of has an 8, trip 8s, or he turned a draw into a bluff, and which one is it? And he's getting not quite as good of a price as you see, because an extra 130K there isn't called, but he's calling 120 to win 320, so like nearly 3 to 1.
Yeah, I feel like this particular combo from vogelsang is the one that he wants to do it with, right? Like the 7-6 of clubs.
It makes a lot of sense for sure. You know, I would say the 6 of diamonds is it's not a bad side card for him. I mean, like, it doesn't really matter what his kicker is. I kind of don't think Vogel
Ivey's always just so
has
stoic
10x
and
here
deliberate
very
in
much.
his actions. I
Maybe
love it.
like ace 10 or king 10. So like Ivey's pure bluff catching. A non-club 6 seems...
You're not getting reads off that guy.
I don't think Vogel really ever has just like 7-6 offsuit, or like, you know what I mean? Just that would be just really weak semi-bluff. So
Before we find out what Ivey does, I'm just curious, who do you guys think is the greatest of all time? There's obviously a lot of debate for Phil Ivey. Perhaps some people say Helmuth, Negreanu, the online wizards like Linus Love, stuff like that. Who do you guys think is the greatest of all time? Leave a comment below and let me know.
the 6 of diamonds isn't blocking any of Vogel's bluffs, I think. So Ivey has a reasonable hand to call with, but you know, it's also a spot where you're pure bluff catching, so you don't just need to call all of these. So it's dicey. And
For his tournament life as well, this
Yeah.
is bullet number 2 for Ivey. Will not be able to re-enter.
this is a big spot for him here, and let's see if one of the greatest to ever do it can figure it out against Darth Vogel hiding in the hoodie.
The Sith Lord of
This is
poker.
the
No,
Yeah.
no, switch 5.
Yeah.
Or,
Alright,
I mean, there's no
welcome.
switch 4.
Everything bricks, wood, Christoph.
This is a
Damn,
tough
king X of
spot,
clubs.
but you know what? I believe in my man Ivey. Feel like he gets it done here.
Ivey deep in the tank for his tournament life. We can obviously see it at home.
You know,
on
he
the
did
screen.
just call off with the king high flush after 5 time banks. Might have, man, I wish I folded that. Kind of knew he had the nut flush. Will that affect his psychology in this one? Does it want to just call it off twice in the same tournament and be out? Will we be able to separate the hands? This is a tough spot.
See if he comes with the okay
Oh,
call.
it's putting it in. That's the put in. You stack.
Oh,
Oh, but he's hesitating. He's gonna do it.
You should put the 200Ks in front.
is he gonna call?
Phil Ivey deep in the tank again.
There we go,
Makes
Phil.
the
I knew he was
call.
gonna do it. Let's
10
go,
six
buddy.
of diamonds, and he's gonna get shown the 7 high from.
I think Vogelsang fell asleep.
That's my guy.
Let's go, Phil Ivey.
Ivey makes the amazing call once again, as we've seen over and over for countless years now. Hope you guys like this analysis. Much love.